All right, hey, what's up, guys? I don't know if you saw our last video, well, my last video with John DeGregorio, who is the lead admin of Movie Lover and TV Lovers Unite on Facebook. So if you want to, please go and like that page, go and get on that page because it's awesome, and I'm also an admin on it, so it kind of works both ways. Well, if you saw in our last video, we were talking about release dates, and we started talking about Jurassic World, and I mentioned that it was my top movie of 2015. Now, a lot of you are thinking, top movie of 2015? What about Force Awakens? What about this? What about that? And I loved it for a few reasons, and I thought, I'm going to explain it right here, right now, and just kind of dispel all the nonsense about it, because yes, it has its flaws, but it's still the best movie of 2015 for me. So here's why. So the main reason I like the movie is because I know how long this movie's been in production. This movie's been in production for roughly about 12 years. And this was Steven Spielberg himself going to different teams of writers and having them come up with stories. Now, if you know anything about a good film, which if you've seen a Spielberg film, you know what is a good film, or if you've seen any old George Lucas like the Indiana Jones or Robert Zemeckis or Martin Scorsese, to name a few, and not to leave any out, but you got to leave some of them out because there's a lot of good directors out there. But if you've seen any good movies, the main thing for a movie is story. And I love that Spielberg spent as long as he did just trying to crack a good story. It shows that he was committed to his brand. It shows that he was committed to not only to his brand, but to make it good again. I think that a lot of people did not like Jurassic Park 3 for individual reasons, but one thing everybody can agree with is the fact that it needed to be better. They needed to step up to the plate because Jurassic Park 3 felt like a B horror film instead of a grand epic, which was quite a step down from the original movie, because the original movie was a grand epic film, as Spielberg fashion is. Now, the third one was directed by Joe Johnston, and it was really a B horror film. You really were just marking people off as they went. So I think that Spielberg wanted to correct the sins of the past, which is awesome. I'm glad that a director acknowledges that, and not only acknowledges that, but wants to correct it and wants to make it better. And honestly, this movie, Jurassic World, is the sequel that we should have gotten in 1997. We have to wait a couple of years. That's fine. And even still, Lost World was a good movie. Just the ending was muddled and bad. And I thought the ending was like a tag from another movie that they shoved into it the last second just to have an ending. Well, like I said, let's talk about Jurassic World. One thing that Jurassic World did, which its predecessors did not do, is the beginning, the opening. Every opening in the Jurassic Park franchise has been some kind of attack. In Jurassic World, we saw the raptor getting out of the cage, eating that one security guy. Jurassic Park 2 was the rich family on Isla Sorna's beach with the girl getting eaten by the compies, which was awesome. The transition to Jeff Goldblum yawning was amazing. Spielberg, you rock. And then the third one was the attack by the Spinosaurus, but you didn't really know what it was. It's kind of shrouded in mystery. I like that. I like the entry. Um, Actually, funny story. I have to tell this story moving forward. But for Jurassic Park 3, I actually went to see that. I actually did not go see that movie in theaters because my mom thought I wasn't old enough. Now, think about it. 14 years ago, I would have been 7 years old. So my mom took me to go see Princess Diaries. Yes, I've seen Princess Diaries. I actually like the original. The second, I haven't seen all the way because I just didn't like it. But I have seen Princess Diaries. Now, we were waiting for Princess Diaries. I remember we showed up there about an hour early to this film. I don't know why we thought it'd be crowded, but it was released around the same time as Jurassic Park 3, and Jurassic Park 3 was playing in that theater. So what my mom and I did, and we used to do this all the time, is while we were waiting, we snuck into Jurassic Park 3. And I remember to this day, the only scene of Jurassic Park 3 I saw in theaters was the Pteranodon attack scene, specifically when the Pteranodon swoops down and grabs Grant's assistant. from the water and is just like picking them up and dropping them out. And that was just awesome. I was like, oh man, I need to get on this. And it ignited my love for the Jurassic Park franchise, and I love it to this day. So one thing that Jurassic World did not do, which I thought was a step down, was the just entry of the egg cracking. And yeah, this is the big bad of the movie. This is the dinosaur that they've been building up in the trailers. They've been hyping this thing. But even still, I was like, okay, it's a dinosaur hatching. We saw this in Jurassic Park, and I actually liked it better in Jurassic Park because it looked real. And that's one thing I want to discuss with this movie. The dinosaurs do not look real. And it's been 14 years since Jurassic Park 3, which actually had realistic dinosaurs. Jurassic Park 1 was the pioneer of this and had realistic dinosaurs, and I loved them. And then Jurassic World just gives us this plastic. It looked like this. It looked like if I was holding this up and said, this is a dinosaur, act to this is a dinosaur. That's what it felt like to me. The Triceratops looked terrible. The only one that looked good besides the Indominus Rex was the Ankylosaur. And I think it's because it was really dark and the shadows allowed it to look more realistic. But the T-Rex looked horrendous compared to the 1993 version of Rexy. And I love Rexy. She's probably my favorite character in all of the Jurassic Park movies. And I'm glad to see her back, but give me some practical effects. Use the same robot, for crying out loud. Just put a different skin on it and, give her the scratches and the beat up look. But use the same thing. You have it there. I'm pretty sure they have it somewhere. Just use it. But no, they had to do that. None of the shots in this movie, and you could tell, none of the shots were done practically. And that's one of my major gripes with Jurassic World, even though I loved it. The only shot that I knew, and I only knew this because it just made sense, and because I saw it on the bonus features, was the Apatosaurus dying, where Chris Pratt's cradling it and it's dying, and then he goes and says, it's killing for sport. That's the only scene that I knew this was an animatronic, and even then, they had to cover it up with CGI. I just didn't like it. Now, the story. I love Chris Pratt. I actually find it funny that they cast Chris Pratt in this before Guardians, because they made just oodles of money off of him, I feel, just because he was in the movie. But good casting choice on Colin Trevorrow's part, and also Steven Spielberg's. Bryce Dallas Howard, I thought she was okay. She was a serviceable character, and she was like the family in Jurassic Park 3. She was one of those where it's like, okay, they're going to go through a change. We all know what the change is. It's predictable. But I kind of wanted her to die. And she didn't. It was just like the family in Jurassic Park 3. She didn't die. She went through a change, and all of a sudden you think that they like, that we like her now. We don't. She had a kiss with Chris Pratt at the end, which was totally unearned. That was one of those moments where I felt that if they hadn't kissed, if they just kept it as, okay, we're going to stick together, but we're not going to kiss, I thought that would have been a better ending and made more sense. But no, they have to make it romantic. And I felt that Jurassic World in this fashion was a mix. It wanted to be the epic film, but it also wanted to be the Dino Carnage Jurassic Park 3. It was a blend of those two. And in that, it had some really good hits and some really good misses. Now, my second gripe about this film, and I know I'm talking about the gripes, and I know I said it's my favorite movie, but yes, I'm talking about the gripes, is the fake outs. And by what I mean by the fake outs is the score. The score of the movie, the beats, and it from the original, and you can hum it, and you know what they're supposed to lead up to. So to have the grand theme open the door, and you don't see one dinosaur out the door, that was a letdown. Because I'm thinking, okay, they're going to open the doors, and yes, you're going to see the park for the first time, but it's going to have dinosaurs, and you're going to see them, and it's going to be awesome just seeing everything together. No, you just saw buildings. It's cool. I like what they did with the Hammond Observatory, but it was just like, reserve the musical cues that are good for the dino moments. And it didn't have any good dino moments. It had action with dinos in it, and it had like these scenes with dinos in it, but it did not have dino moments. Like, I was watching this movie, especially the gyrosphere scenes, and I'm thinking, Where is a moment with the gyrosphere like what we got at the beginning, the first dinosaur we ever saw in Jurassic Park, the Brachiosaur? There was no moment like that in Jurassic Park or in Jurassic World. There was even a moment like that in Jurassic Park 3, as forced as it was with the Brachiosaurs on the river. Ironically, it's the same dinosaur, but the Brachiosaurs on the river, and you had this magical moment. And you had it in the Lost World with the Stegosaur. They weren't there. They were just waiting to get to the action, waiting to get to Indominus. Indominus did some cool stuff. Indominus was awesome. I thought he was a cool dinosaur, and I was like, oh, how are they going to beat this thing? How are they going to beat this thing? Which leads me to one of the things I loved about this movie, the end fight. I feel that with Jurassic Park 3 and the Spinosaurus killing off the T-Rex, everybody was whining. I was among them. I did not like how bad the T-Rex went out, just neck snap. It had no ceremony whatsoever. Whereas with Indominus and T-Rex, if Indominus would have killed T-Rex, I would have been fine with it for this reason. T-Rex came back as the hero. So if it would have given its life for the heroes and the heroes got to escape, fine. I loved it. But they didn't kill him. They had him push Indominus into the water or next to the water. And the whole time I'm like, why is it doing that? And then when the Mosasaur jumps out of the water, grabs him, I was like, oh, you did it, movie. Oh, you did it. And you're awesome. Ah! The same thing with Open the Gate when Claire went out after the little kid said, we need more teeth. I was like, oh no. That's why we haven't seen the T-Rex, because she's coming right now. And I was just like, I was giddy. I was like a kid in a candy store, just like, ah. And that's why this movie is my favorite movie of 2015. Because even though it had a lot of wrongs, what it did right to such a degree that it recaptured how it felt to see that one clip in the theaters when I got to sneak in to see that one scene of Jurassic Park 3, or when I saw Jurassic Park 3 full for the first time, or Jurassic Park 1 for the first time, because I saw Jurassic Park 3 first. The magic was there. The dinosaur awe was there. And if you know anything about me, I was a dinosaur kid growing up. My favorite movie of all time is Disney's Dinosaur, which I know is an oddball movie to have as your favorite movie of all time, but it is. And I have my own reasons. But it just did it, and it did it so well. The score, I love they brought back John Williams' score, and I thought Michael Giacchino's score for this movie was good. It had a lot of memorable themes. Now it had a lot of filler stuff, but like the Indominus theme, I didn't really care for. But that one song, as the Jurassic World turns, I think is what it's called. I remember getting the CD and listening to it in the car, bawling my eyes out because I'm like, they did something that is as good as the Jurassic Park theme. They did it, and the hype was just so serious for me for this movie, and it delivered. It had some misses, but I figured, in a sequel, you can hammer these out. And now, because it's made so much money, they're going to give it more budget to get, to make animatrons and to have that connect of technology so you can feel that it's a real dinosaur. And that was one thing with Jurassic Park, is I never felt that these were CGI or these were animatrons. These were dinosaurs. And with Jurassic World, I was like, this is CGI. This is CGI. This is CGI. This is CGI. This is animatronic with CGI painting. But even still, like I said, the things that it did right to such a degree that it just helped me to overlook all the flaws of the film and saw it for what it was and what it was trying to accomplish. I loved it. Chris Pratt was funny. I thought he was restrained, which I don't know why they would restrain him, but it's for story. But I thought he needed more character moments. I felt, and I love Masrani. I thought Masrani, if you mix Masrani with the little kid, Ty Simpkins from Iron Man 3, if you mix those two characters together, that's me. And so I love those two characters for that reason. I didn't like the little kid so much just because, it's like, he's whiny. But even then, he was going through a real emotional theme, divorce, dealing with divorce. And I was like, okay, I feel for you. I feel for you, kid. And I feel for Mizrani. I feel his passion for creating this thing to show people humility. I thought that's beautiful. That's perfect. And it did such a good job with those characters and with Chris Pratt's and with Vincent D'Onofrio's. I thought he was hammy and he was cheesy, but it was good. And that's one thing I like about this movie is it's giving us. I feel that Colin Trevorrow wanted to give us Jurassic Park through the eyes of a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 6-year-old, like a kid. They wanted to give you the movie through the eyes of a kid, so everything's over exaggerated. The bad guys are over exaggerated. The romance is over exaggerated. The horror is over exaggerated. When Zara gets killed, it's one of the best scenes in the movie because it's just so awesome. And the Pteranodon scene is just so awesome because it's so grand, and all these things are just fighting. And you have Jimmy Buffett grabbing margaritas, trying to escape with his margarita, and it was just like perfection, perfection. So while this movie was not perfect, I thought it was awesome, and I give it a 4.5 stars out of 5 because it will be always what I think it is. Even though yes, it has flaws, but the stuff it did so well, it did it to such a degree that it helped me overlook the flaws. No movie is perfect. Every movie has flaws, and I think Cinema Sins prove that every movie has its sins. But when a movie's good and it just tickles you to such a degree, you can't help but not overlook it and give it the accolades and the attention it deserves. And Jurassic World is getting that attention. Thank you, Steven Spielberg. Thank you, Colin Trevorrow. Thank you to everyone who made this movie because it was awesome, and it topped Star Wars for me, and that's a feat in and of itself. So thank you, and thank you guys for listening. This has been Movie Critic Rob with my thoughts on Jurassic World. And as always, please share this video, subscribe to my channel, and please like, and comment also. If you have any movies that you want me to review, please comment on that. If you have any movies that you want me to pick apart or you want me to watch that you think I haven't seen, or your favorite movies, just anything, comment on it. Send me your messages. I would love to hear from you, and I'm always looking for ideas of videos to do. So thank you, and have a good night. Movie Critic Rob, out.